What's going on, everybody? Gentleman94 here. Welcome back to Ben Builds. And today, guys, we have a very short, clean update for you guys. I just want to show you what we're going to be working on today, and we are going to finish up the last bit of the fuselage. I want to go ahead and sand down all of these rough panel lines. I want to get this ready for initial sanding and then re-scribing and then final polishing. So as you can see here, we have a lot of work to do. So I'm going to pull out my jeweler file and we're going to start here in the corner. And I want to go ahead and sand down the lumps of super glue that I applied to go ahead and hide these seams. Now I did the same technique on my P36, and I have to tell you, it actually works. You have to sand it down and polish everything out. So try not to use anything that's too gritty, but the jeweler files work well and it gets it nice and level. Once it's level, then we'll come back with a little bit of harsher sandpaper, followed by some of the really super smooth sandpaper to polish it out. So I think we should be good to go. So the initial first sanding job is finished, and I'm actually coming back over with the very fine grit sandpaper I got from Testers. I don't know what grit this is, what number, but it's basically like paper. So I'm going to run it over this area, smooth everything out, and it's going to give it a nice polished look. I also removed a few of the raised surface details that exist around the cockpit. Those aren't even necessary, so I pulled those out. We do also have to do the same technique on the rear stiffeners between the fuselage and the tail. Those also have to go, at least according to the instructions. So I'm going to probably follow the instructions, at least on this part, because I trust Edward and I trust Hasegawa, so I think I'm safe just by going with the flow. Whatever the instruction tells me to do, I'm probably going to do that, But I'm going to continue sanding everything down, polishing everything out, and then we'll see where we go from here. Probably we're going to install that wing on the fuselage, but let's continue pushing along, get everything sanded and cleaned up. Okay, so I realized before I go ahead and put on the wing on the fuselage, we're going to need to re-scribe a couple of the areas that are just too beat up. So we're going to use some of this Dymo tape, and we're going to stick it down to the panel line. And I'm going to use this as a straight edge, almost like an adhesive ruler. Then I'm going to draw my pin vise here that I have chucked with a little bit of a bit. We're going to just score that area and clean out that whole entire panel line. This is going to be super awesome because once we pull this tape up, yep, there it is. We have a panel line. So now we're going to freshen up all the other panel lines and make sure that everything looks the part. So this should be decently easy to do. Once this is done, this is going to add a really nice level of realism to it as well. Now I could go pretty far and start riveting, but I'm just going to stick with the panel lines. That should be sufficient. Okay, so we have just started the second phase of sanding, and I'm going to be cleaning out a lot of the panel lines with my jeweler file and with my pin vise, because I don't want to have just all this plastic dust crammed into the different panel lines. I want them to be clean and open and crisp. Also, we removed the stiffening plates between the fuselage and the rear tail. So those are all gone, and I re-scribed that line as well. We do have to do the other side, however, but that isn't too bad. So I think overall this kit is really moving along. So on the other side of the fuselage, we have these stiffening plates, and I already moved them from the left side, so I want to remove them from the right side. And as you can see, they are quite prominent. So I'm going to use my jeweler file, and I'm going to sand them down. This is what I'm going for. This is the other side that I just finished up. After we've scribed, cleaned, re-scribed, and sanded, it looks pretty decent. As you can see, even the inserts look better. Okay, everybody, so the fuselage is all finished up, and we are ready to install the fuselage and the wing together. So I'm going to use a little bit of plastic welder, and we're just going to go over the rear joint, and we're going to go over the wing and fuselage joints as well. I think that's going to give it a nice bond. Now, there is one small issue. The wings that come off of the fuselage dip downwards a bit, and I'm not entirely certain if that is the case. I think they're more or less level. A lot of the detailed drawings I've seen, they look level to me, but I don't know if that's exactly true. So instead of really worrying about it, I'm going to make this as level as it looks right to me. Now, a little bit of a trick here. If you want to go ahead and hold the wings together at the wing joint without having to sit there and physically hold it together, use some tape. Take a nice long piece of tape, stick it to the bottom side of the wing, run it over top, across, stick it down to the fuselage, and pull it all the way to the other side of the wing to keep everything uniform and even. And this is how I hold together wings, especially when they might be slightly off or need a little bit of a tweak. This is a decent way to do it. So I really think this is going to look fantastic. All right, so for our last step here on the video, I wanted to go ahead and install the rear horizontal stabilizers. And these are pretty clean. They're in very good shape. And they have these interesting interlocking tabs that are supposed to interlock with each other inside the rear of the fuselage, but they just don't quite fit. So let's go ahead and look at them outside the model and see how they actually go together. Yeah, okay, so we might be able to give it a little bit of a twist just to make sure that we lock those tabs into place. Let's see here. Come on, almost. There it is. Okay, so there we are. The nice thing about these is they really have a very secure joint. The unfortunate aspect of these, it's tough to go ahead and align those wings to match perfectly what you're going for because they're connected. So if you move one end up, the other end's going to go down and vice versa. So you got to be real careful. I suggest gluing one side of it and then adjusting the horizontal plane as best as you can. These are actually pretty decent, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to just drop some glue on the wing root area there on the rear of the tail, and we're going to let that glue dry and let it cure, and then we're going to be done, at least with this part of our aircraft. The Tiffy's really coming along, guys. I'm super excited to see how it turns out. And all of the hard work that I'm seeing on that Facebook page, you guys are amazing. Truly, truly amazing. So we're going to call it here. I'm going to let this dry, make a few little adjustments on this horizontal stabilizer, but I'm pretty sure that we are good to let this sit, let this dry, and we'll be back next episode for hopefully paint. Because I would love to finish up a few of the little details and then pull out the paint, mask off areas, and start priming and painting this aircraft. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here next time on Ben Builds. Until then, happy building, and we'll see you soon.